sit down. All right, we'll call this meeting to order, and we'll ask Commissioner Tony Smith to lead us in prayer.
Let Ms. Laura get situated here, and then we'll carry on.
Yeah, Lord.
All right, let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we want to thank Thee for another wonderful day. Lord, bless this group of people as we're here tonight to conduct the business for our county, where it's most fair for every individual in our county. Lord, bless the people that are sick and need Your guidance. Bless our troops that are fighting for our rights, our freedom, our current way of life. In Thy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for that. All right, I believe the only absent member is Road Superintendent Mark Clanton, who was sick, and so he's not able to be here with us tonight, but everybody else is present. All right, approval of the minutes from the December 20th, 2022 meeting.
Move to approve. Second.
All right, motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next item is new business, so solid waste, and we have a presence.
All the centers were extremely busy after the holidays, and of course our tonnage increased. We are glad to see things settle down. I was out at El Vessel this weekend, so I don't believe that is happening. We were as busy as ever. I think all the centers were. We have a new holiday closure schedule at the convenience centers for next year. And there was one that came out in January issue of Shelbyville Good News. If anybody wants to cut that out and save it, it's a nice handout. There's also directions to the paint facility at all the centers now. We have mailed out all of our annual progress report letters to industrial and commercial businesses for 2022. And we also hope to pick up a couple of fairly large places, Friendly Environment and Nearest Green Distillery. Based on what we reported last year, we will still be ahead of our waste reduction. We are in the process of getting surplus items ready to sell. Juan has come down, taking pictures, and getting ready to put everything out on GovDeals. Our household hazardous waste event is scheduled for September the 16th at the Ag Center from 8 until noon. We will be doing more advertising later, at a later date, so that the residents can get their items ready for disposal. Calendar year-end and quarter reports are attached. I did want to say that we had a call from Reef, which is the place where we take our compacted cardboard. They are not taking any cardboard. Yes, the price is dropping. They're so full they can't move it. So look for that to be an issue at the center, so we'll probably have to trash it. We are getting a couple of new inmates. We know that the county roads are in bad shape, but we've only had 1 or 2 inmates, so one person can't get much picked up doing that. We got 6 yesterday. Hopefully we'll get 6 tomorrow. So that'll help us, and then as the weather breaks, then we'll keep continuing. For December, recycling revenue was $14,205.03, and we have recycling tonnage of 127.99. That was up a little bit because the month before had to close a little bit earlier so that I could get some numbers to you. So that was the increase of the stuff that was left over in December. Landfill expenses were down just a little bit, $29,846.69, and 903.35 tons for disposal. Recycling revenues for 2022, $180,783.71, 1136.62. So we were down a little bit on tonnage as far as recycling stuff, and down on price due to prices going down on just about every commodity. Any other questions?
Diane, last commission meeting, Commissioner Neely made a very good observation about some of the areas that are trash filled, that are being abused out there. And
we will send our crews out there to pick that up, you know, just immediately or as soon as the weather breaks, whatever. But the whole county, since we've been down such a long time with very few inmates, we have had a really hard time policing a lot of the roads. We're open longer hours. It's easier for a lot of people to get to the centers, but we still have trash thrown out. So if anybody has any suggestions, we're certainly open to any ideas. But if you know of a road that is in really bad shape, please call the office and we'll take care of it.
And then, I think I know the answer to this, but we get litter grants from the state that also help to make sure that we have programs to pick up waste, is that right?
Right, well, that's where we use our inmates on that. We get $51,000 a year. That includes lunches for them, our salaries for the litter guards to take care of that. Any of our advertising goes through that. Some of our household waste stuff will go through that. Anything that really is basically related to getting the trash moved, and that's what we can do.
But it's basically the right of way, that's where you can only work.
Yes,
on
and
the
we
right of
can't
way.
go off of the right of way at all. We can't go on somebody's property. The only thing we can do is pick up right on the side of the road.
Right. But that's an additional program we offer besides just collection of waste.
Yes.
We actually have people on the roads trying to pick up and stay in front of it.
And we have had a couple of people, there are some individuals out there that have kind of like adopted a highway. We provide bags for them, pick up, stick things for them, and, you know, if anybody wants to get involved like that, we certainly can use the help out there.
And is it not a different grant that the state highways, aren't there people that pick up that are not our crews?
The state and the county. is totally
State
different.
roads.
Right, but there are state
Yes,
pickup
our state
folks
programs.
in addition to our programs.
That is
Right,
correct.
so-
State highways,
Yes.
state highways.
They pick up usually
But
right before they
have
mow.
spent millions of dollars trying to get advertising out there, trying to get more awareness. And one study showed that it is younger women from 20 to 30 that do a lot of the littering. You would think that they would not be the ones doing it, but they are. And in 2021, Class 1 landfills had over 8 million tons, that's just across Tennessee, 8 million tons of trash that went into Class 1 landfills.
All right, any other comments for solid waste? I just want to make sure everybody knows that we're on it every way we can to make sure that we're managing that. All right, next is human resources, I believe, report and present.
Yes, you all have, should have, does anybody need a copy of the report right now? Okay, so you all have in front of you, the December new hire, and other data reports. In regards to job postings, we still have, some opportunities, where we keep up on our reoccurring positions in public safety. We have modified one of the health department days, to change it to a nutrition educator, and that has seemed to help get some interest in that position, so we're taking some applications for that now. I just closed today the deputy clerk, general sessions and circuit court, so we'll start interviewing for those soon. But since we last met, we've added the sheriff's deputy. I'm in the process of onboarding a full-time custodian. We just hired and onboarded a juvenile detention officer yesterday. I, did an onboarding and, helped with the hiring on the building and codes inspector, so that department is back up to full capacity now. And the highway department just hired a full-time mower, so they should be, back up as well. And in regards to projects, I have those listed. Most of my time was just making sure department assistance with either virtual Title VI and Title VII training was completed, or I went on site to the departments upon their request, and we completed those trainings as well to satisfy that requirement. So those were done. And then at the very bottom, I just added the annual, and when I say annual, I mean, calendar year for this data total. It's not fiscal, it's calendar from January to December. And just did a comparison for you all of 21 versus 22 data. Do you all have any questions on that?
Any questions for HR?
I just want to comment, it looks like our turnover for last year was roughly 93%, does that sound about right?
I haven't ran the percentages on it.
Yeah, I just looked at all the new
Mhm.
hires and the retirements and
Mhm.
resignations,
Yes. Mhm.
mostly. Almost just say 1 for 1.
Yes. But, and ironically, we talk about this all the time, and I look at Tony because he brought up a great question about it like a year ago. I'm like, it looks like a one-for-one, but it's not specific to the same position in the same department. It's just not.
Commissioner Vick.
Director Boyette, in the criteria for hiring that we have for the county, is there any place that we could look where you don't have to have a college degree specific to that position? Meaning, understand if you're gonna be, certain positions have to have a college. Are there any positions that we don't have to require a college degree?
There are several.
Would there be a way, if you don't mind, taking a look at that and letting us know what those might be and what your position is, whether we could lift that requirement to maybe have the opportunity for people who don't have a college degree but have working experience to work in there? Is that?
I could pull the data, I mean, it's gonna require going back through the job descriptions, but I think a lot of that review of whether or not it was needed or not needed was satisfied when we did the update in the job descriptions
Okay.
by June 30. I mean, I think what we have on file right now, we've already kind of skimmed what we think is required and what's not. I can pull the number,
Pull the
but I
number
don't
on
see
that,
it
if you don't
changing.
mind, and see what that number
Yeah.
is, because what we're trying to do is give as many people the opportunity to work as they can,
Right.
and not necessarily promote the 4-year, because we have a TCAP, we have a CTE program, we got a community
Now, a
college.
lot of our job descriptions say desired or
Yeah.
preferred, but it doesn't lock in that it's a
Required.
requirement.
Okay,
Mhm.
good.
And the only other thing, I did a grant submittal on the safety grant, annual safety grant to, apply for, and of course, we won't know till the spring if we receive that funding or not, for $20,000 to purchase one of the digital signboards that you see on, road construction projects or public safety events, so we could use it from EMA to highway, to any department, that may need that. So we'll know in the spring if we receive that award or not.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you for that report. Archives, we have the report. I don't think she's here. I was looking around. I don't see her. You won't.
No, the Records Committee met yesterday and had the same report, and that's about what it is. But we did talk about approaching the mayor about, for this next budget year, having a full-time archival secretary, archival person, not a full-blown archivist, so that our archives are open every day of the week. And we're contemplating that we have the money, and so that, I'm just throwing that out there for something for us to think about.
So we go from a half a FTE to a.
We do 3 days a
full
week.
FTE.
She's half-day, or part-time is working 28 hours, I believe, so 7 more hours would
So
make
if we
her.
made it a full FTE, then
And
that
of course,
would be-
benefits and
right.
so forth, but
Right,
that
right,
would,
right.
getting a lot of requests and searches and weird stuff from Belgium cemeteries and all that. It's just more and more because people are accessible to the online stuff. But anyway, that's something just to be thinking ahead about.
And there's a funding mechanism associated with archives, right?
Yes, yes. We take in about 130 to 140,000 a year on fees that are collected, so.
Mr. Chairman, would you guys take a look at having the opportunity to work with the register of deeds and taking those deeds that we have stored in not in a fireproof vault, and digitizing those so that we can have those done? That would be a huge help to the register and the people who need the records every day. Because these are the original books, and for the first time in the history of Bedford County, they're not in a fireproof vault now.
I think Johnny has a plan involved in all that, and I think,
He does.
so,
We just need a funding
yeah,
mechanism.
yeah.
Yeah, he had, the last I talked with him just a few months ago before he got hurt, he had been trying to get some ARP funds, because it kind of ties to that about access to the office. I think one of those had failed through, and he was gonna circle back to me about a dollar amount to propose in the upcoming budget that would at least get a phase of it if we couldn't get the whole thing done. So he has talked to me about it in the last few months, but not the last few weeks. So it is absolutely something that we need to keep on the radar, and it would be something that would be accessible, again, to the general public.
Yes.
And I'll check with Caroline on that.
Any other comments or questions about archives? All right, moving on to architects. I don't think right, well, we got Jeff Sweeney here
Jeff's
with us, but, is there anything you might want to tee up in this meeting about architects, or how you arrived at where you are? Or
Well, we have two projects. We are on track with community, the addition, maybe about a week and a half behind, but they feel once they get the roof on, which they're working on right now, that they'll be able to catch back up. So we're in great shape there. We're on budget, we're in good shape on it. So, and then the new elementary school, Cartwright Elementary School, we have presented to our board and passed an estimated GMP. And so we are ready to bring it to this committee. I think we'll cover that in other business and ask for approval to move it on to the commission at our meeting tonight. We feel that we have used the architect selected by this committee. We have used the owner rep to make sure that there's nothing that we don't have to have within our programming. And so we feel that we're in a great place and hope that we could get your support.
And construction management.
Yes,
Has
construction.
been involved as a third
Yes.
tool.
Yes.
And I believe all these things were at the table from the very beginning, which has not historically necessarily been in that order. So I know that you guys have monitored and been involved all along the way, trying to not compromise your need, but to not spend where we didn't have to. So I know you have made some significant adjustments reaching this number that you're at now.
And we have spent many hours. We went over 90 items for value engineering. We accepted or rejected depending on if we could do it. And we just appreciate the process and appreciate everything that this committee and the commission has given us, the tools that we've had to help us through this process. It's been a great asset to us.
So you're coming to us tonight, of course, a little bit to the next meeting, but you're actually putting forward what you believe your need for that school is, not a cut back version of that. By having gone through this process, you've been able to keep your needs out front and not let cost necessarily drive the process.
But we have been very budget-minded through the
Sure.
whole process.
Through the tools.
Yes, with living within our budget.
Right, but your request is going to meet what you believe that school needs to be.
Yes, 800 students, doesn't have, bells and whistles. It's a school, it's a nice school, but we feel that it will get us closer to being out of portables. I've been sitting through budget hearings with principals. For example, I have 100 students just at Aiken alone in portables. When you have a population as at risk as we do there, then you have many challenges, and it hurts to have that be one of our challenges to learning. And so we're looking forward to, hopefully tonight, taking our next step. I feel that the board has worked very well together to design a school that meets the needs of our students and our community. We realize that a school is really a community event center as well. And so we look forward to building the school and seeing the community use it, because we've got a gym there for events as well. So we are very excited about it.
Any other comment? Anything you need to say?
No, it was a great process. We probably have over 120 hours of meetings with architects, engineers. The school board worked very diligently. Chairman Cook did a great job of keeping everybody on task. Dr. Garrett challenged us every meeting we had. I want a quality school. I don't want to give up anything structurally, integrity-wise, and I think we've met those challenges. Like she said, we had 90 items, value engineering it from Bell's, where we could find money that we could save, and we took advantage of that, and I think it's going to be a great product.
Right, and so having those experts involved in this journey with you is, gave you some assurance that on your own that's a tall order.
Yes, and
to
we
make
felt
sure.
the need, we wanted to invest the time, because in schools, if you invest the time now and get a good prototype in future years to come, you don't have to, pay that money again. We have a great programmatic school that works for us, and you will see that saves you money in the long run, and that investment of time.
I think I can speak, I think Mark's the only one around, but wouldn't it have been nice to have had all this in place when we did the judicial center? So I applaud everything that we've worked for to get it to the point with Jeff working relationships of everything. Lord help, it's so much better.
In the past, we certainly have had to chase money
We
more
had
than the
to
project.
chase a lot of
And this time, we
things.
were able to keep the project out front with the tools they needed
Yeah.
to render much closer to what the end product ought to be. I'm excited to be a part of that with you guys, too. Any other comments about architects? All right, thank y'all for that. Your monthly reports?
Okay, you've got a copy of the monthly financial statements, and we're pretty much on track on every fund. And if you flip through it, we're halfway through the year, so on the first page, you'll see that we're 50% of the revenues collected. And the second page, or actually third page, we've expended 46% of our budget. So it's typically through the whole thing like that. The only exception will be the road department. He had to go ahead and cut some purchase orders early due to some bridges, I believe. So his, it looks a little higher on the expenditure side, but we're pretty much on track. The second part is the analysis of tax collections. And if you look at page 1, we have collected $3.5 million more than the same time last year. Now, part of that's due to a tax increase. And on the second part of that, the prior year tax collections, we're down $78,000 from the prior year. Page 2, clerk and master collections are up $11,400 from the prior year, and sales tax is up $895,000 from the prior year. And then with the mineral severance tax, we only have 1 quarter to report so far. Next month, we'll have an update on that. Okay, the next part is juvenile detention. We're reflecting or projecting a loss of $229,000 for the year. Traffic school is the next page, and we're expecting a $69,000, almost $70,000 profit for the year. And the last part is an analysis of various expenses. We are at 50%, like I said, through the year, and you can see some of these are highlighted in red, and that's because they've exceeded the average. And some of this will be all of this will be dealt with in a budget amendment if it goes over 100%. But when you look at travel, a lot of the travel is taken the first part of the year, so it's naturally higher. So if there are any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Robert, under utilities and natural gas, it looks like everything's up under utilities, almost 50 to 60%. I guess the volatility there. Does it make you nervous a little bit as we go the next 6 months and we're already?
Well, it is high now. We're in the winter months, so it'll probably drop a little bit. But if you look at the average of everything, it's only 48%. Now, when you look at natural gas, it's 58%, but we buy all the natural gas this time of year.
Any other questions about those standard reports? All right, our other reports, I see EMS is in the room, and Mr. Cox is, well, both of them over there wringing their hands, so I suspect this is gonna be good.
We had a busy December, and you guys have a report in front of you. A few things I'll touch on. We had the Vivian Health nursing home evacuation. I'm sure you guys have heard of that. That was the largest event that we've had to evacuate. We had several counties involved in the state. It was a huge operation. Our staff came in. This was Christmas Eve, middle of the day. We're very appreciative for that. So thank you guys, everybody that came in. In return, Coffee County had a nursing home evacuation. We thought on Saturday, which we sent some resources over there, they had a fire at their nursing home. I think we assisted in maybe moving one patient there, but they got their fire out and were able to use the facility, so that's excellent for them. And we didn't have to evacuate. We've also got our AMT class should be finished next February 16th. So we're hoping to get those students out, and then we'll start planning our next EMT classes. That's all I've got to add. If anybody has any questions on the report.
Response times look good.
And you got highlighted on television, right?
You did.
We were on Channel 4. You guys saw that, highlighting our program. We're working with some partners at the state, and they're going to be highlighting our service and our program. We're one of the first in the state to train our own employees in-house. It's good to be recognized for that and all of our work that's gone into that program, and the ability that you guys have given us to be able to do that.
Absolutely. They're doing a great job with it, and they have to meet all the same standards that colleges do. So keeping in mind, it's not just, well, you get to do it. I mean, they have to meet those same standards, so when you shine the light on that. That's a big responsibility by itself, and it has proven to be effective for us because it has addressed their staffing. So we're grateful for that. And pay adjustments that this commission body stepped up and did have also helped, not only in public safety, but across the system. And I think we see that even in our reporting and turnover compared to what we've had. We had positions that people weren't even applying for. So we're happy to be on the right track, we believe, there till the economy does the next big trick right before our very eyes. All right. Any other comments or questions? All right, quarterly financials. Robert.
Okay, you have a quarterly report. This is the same information that you had in your monthly report. It's just summarized by the quarter. And I would like to add to what Ted said. It was pretty exciting here Christmas Eve, too. There was no ceiling tiles, and they're back in, and they had whitewater rafting in the stairs and ice skating out the side here.
Yes. Is that all the quarter? Okay. All right, so then we need a motion to approve all the reports.
Motion to approve all the reports.
Second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you for that. All right, I believe next is BOE has budget amendment number 2.
Okay, if you look at page 1, you'll see a summary of the items that we're amending. We have an ESSER grant of $4,000, a Walmart grant of $1,000. We had some contributions, an STS grant. We had some refunds and reimbursements. We had some money moved from fund balance. And if you look at the second page, you'll see, second and third page, you'll see where that money was, well, second page, you'll see where that money was distributed through the budget. So that's the BOE, that's the general fund, general purpose school fund. We had a couple of other funds that are attached with different colored paper. That's just to update the fund balance amount. So that's all on that one, if anyone has any questions.
So you want to do them individually?
We can do both if you want.
Okay, well, then we'll move on to the county, general.
Okay, the county had an amendment also, and if you look at page 1, you'll see the contents. It'll be donations, archives grant. We had a training grant, an MHT grant, Medicaid MCO for the EMS, USDA grant. We had animal control donations, and we had refunds and reimbursements. I've labeled all of those. Now, the second page has where that was, second and third page in this case, is where that went through the budget. And then if you look at the colored pages, there's a few small amendments here. Most of these are to adjust the fund balance, but when it gets to the 131 fund, which is a white paper after the blue one, there was a department transfer there. So with that, that's the amendment in a nutshell.
Now, I think I know the answer to this. When it comes to grants, even though a department is applying for that or thinks that that's going to be part of their budget for next year, we amend those in once we get them.
That's correct.
And then they pass through. They
That's
come
correct.
in and then they're moved to the appropriate expenditure line, and then from there they're exercised, right?
Right.
We don't preload the budget with potentials for grants.
That's right, because they can change. You may not get approved. You may get more than you had requested. So we normally amend all grants at the same, when they come in, and it's a revenue and expense, so it's an in and out.
Okay. That's why you see a lot of that. And they tend to drop around the same time, so you see a lot of that going. All right. Any other comments or thoughts on the budget amendments? We need a motion to approve both budget amendments, Board of Education and County General. And go to the commission with it.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? This quarterly report has to go to us. Okay. I think everybody's okay with that, but the quarterly report will be sent to the commission too. That's the standard procedure. Okay.
Both of them.
All right. And then up next is the surplus property for Board of Education.
Move to send it on.
Motion second, all in favor? Any opposed? All right, then we got that done. Now we got a little bit of other business, a couple of things. The first one, we can just go ahead and deal with the bond resolution that would deal with funding or appropriating the funds for the school, should the commission agree to that in the special call meeting here in a couple of hours. So do you have that in front of you where you guys can see it? And is there anything specific you want to say, Robert, or Dr. Garrett, regarding the actual resolution?
First of all, we've got a typo in the heading there. It should be 43,500,000 instead of 41 million. I failed to change that. we will have that revised for the meeting tonight. Now, we started off with 42,700, and John Warner is our bond person in the back there.
It's 41,
And he's-
right?
We're gonna round up, that is the correct number, this doesn't read right.
I got you, I
Yeah.
got you.
43.5 is what,
43,500,000.
so that we make sure we have, and he's in the room with us, and again, keep in mind, the county has a financial advisor, which he would be to us, besides the fact we have a finance department. And that, again, helps make sure we have checks and balances, and when we are borrowing money or looking at debt, these guys are our conscience about what's going on there. When it's time to do some, or call in some debt and redo it, we've done that, we've saved millions with these guys in the past, and here's an opportunity. And all this tonight is time sensitive, is why we needed to have a special call meeting, because you can watch the stock market in the news and see it's all over the place about what money is worth and what it's costing to buy and build. And so that's why we felt like we needed to do the process the way we have tonight.
But this is without a tax increase.
This is without a tax increase, and we
This
rounded
part of it.
up so that it's for an allowance for some unknowns. Now, what we're gonna do is a draw. We will draw the money down as we need it, so we only pay interest as we use it. And then, after that, we'll be actually issuing the bond, right? If I'm wrong, you
Please
correct
stand.
me.
Come to the front and let them, you drove all the way from East Tennessee to be with me?
Yes, sir.
All right.
That's what you hired me to do. Right?
Amen.
No, my name's John Warner. I'm with Cumberland Securities, and what Robert was discussing was correct. We have the interest of the schools and the money they need to have to construct the project. There's also a thing called a cost of issuance. And assuming that, and we try to be very conservative in all of our assumptions, assuming that we have everything purchased at par, meaning for every $1,000 bond that you get, that you sell, you get $1,000 back. We want to make sure there's enough money to cover that cost. Now, traditionally speaking, when the county has issued those bonds, they've sold them at a premium. What that means is if someone's willing to give you a little bit more than the $1,000 you want for that particular bond, and that we would be covering that cost of issuance through that premium. Then the county, through Robert's office, has the option in, do we want to keep the extra money that we received after everything's been paid? Do we want to just give that extra money back and then just have the operating money we need to have for the construction fund? It's been discussed up to this point. And then after that, we'll start figuring out payments and everything. Now, as far as the first piece of the debt, let me back up here just a little bit. For those of you that have been with the county commission, have heard me make this spiel before about variable rate debt and how, there's a time and a place for everything. But when we refunded all the county's debt and saved millions of dollars, we removed the variable rate of debt and said we took that unnecessary risk off the table. That's because the fixed rate market was so favorable at that time that we were able to take the variable rate of debt and its uncertainty, lock it in permanently for as long as that existing debt is still on the books. And in this particular case, from as we stand right now, that's another 15 more years, and we locked it in at like a overall 1.51%. That's unheard of. Now, one county commissioner asked us, what do you think is going to be if we can get back to those rates again? We're not going to be in this room the next time that happens, unless something cataclysmic happens in our business environment. So that being said, rates have obviously gone up, as the mayor had alluded, to the point where it makes sense to use variable rate of debt. The county is in good enough financial position with your fund balance to take on a little bit of risk in the variable rate of debt. When we issue the variable rate of debt, there are a couple of advantages to this. The most important piece is you only pay interest on what you're using. So over the course of the construction period, and I really haven't gotten a good handle on how long it's anticipated you'll actually start, after you start moving dirt, bringing this school building up. But during that period, you'll be making timely draws, through the bank, and then you'll be making debt payments to the contractors, and getting all that squared away. And then at the end of a, let's say, 2-year period, the county has an option, and quite frankly, this option where they can go and say, ooh, rates have dropped down quite a bit all of a sudden. Do you think it's a good move? And we'll have enough experience in the marketplace at that time, and we'll be able to say, yeah, this is a good time. Let's convert variable to fixed. And then that way we know what our rate's going to be, and you have fixed rate debt right now, just like you do with the rest of your investment portfolio. But up to that point, you'll have some options to keep at least your costs down as you draw the money down, and then after that period in 2 years, you'll decide whether you want to stay with variable rate, because it's not a bond anticipation note. It's a legitimate bank loan. And you'll be able to carry that for as long as you want to, or as markets improve, or if variable rate markets get really bad, and they say, we need to really lock in on this, then you can go to the fixed rate market. The important thing is you have options, and you put yourself in a position where you can exercise these options, just like we discussed several years ago when we were going through all this bond refunding opportunities that you had. And that's really about it. The bigger question that commission will need to take up tonight is, do they want to do variable and take advantage of the advantages that you have and also understand some of the risk, or do you want to go ahead and lock in rates right now and proceed as normal? And I have a presentation that I'll present to everyone that we can discuss those kinds of things. But it's our recommendation to Bedford County is that you go ahead and take advantage of this variable rate of debt right now while you can. And then let's just see what the future holds for us, and we'll always be there to advise you on what the next move should be.
Is the construction loan, is it a permanent loan at the time of start, or is it based on the completion of the school?
No, it's a permanent loan.
So it's a one-time?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
So what is that variable rate today?
Right now, here's the interesting part. Everyone's heard about inverted yield curve, or if you've heard that term, you think, what the heck does that mean? Well, in this particular case, short-term rates are almost equal to what long-term rates. So basically, even if you went variable with a rate that adjusts every month, or you went with something that's not going to change for the next 20 years or so, then you're talking around 4 and a quarter, okay? And that's what the rate would be right now. Now, with variable, could it go up later on? Yes, it can. Up, down. Let me also give you an aside. Suppose we miss the rates by 1 year, okay? You could pay that interest on that 1 year for that 1% mistake. You could do that, or you could just pay it and just pay that 1% interest for the next 25 years, I think is the right number. So you've got enough money to manage a mistake. Now, you're not going to live with a mistake that long because you'll be making principal and interest payments as well. But the point I wanted to say is you're well positioned. Now, everyone may think, well, this is a great idea. This could be the panacea for all of our problems. We can do, we can do correction facilities, and we can do anything the county wants to do. We'll just do variable rate of debt. Not so, because remember, you only have so much in your fund balance to offset that variable rate risk. And right now, the county has what I refer to as a natural hedge. Okay, not dollar for dollar, but very, very close.
Is there a call provision on the bond, or is it?
There is a call provision, as a matter of fact, and the call provision occurs if, in the event that you can't remarket it, that's called liquidity risk that you have. The second part would be if you defaulted, or you and the bank says, okay, you defaulted, we want you to pay us off. I don't expect that to be a problem with Bedford County. We take putting variable rate debt very seriously because of the different types of risk that are normally not associated with public finance. But we just think in this particular case, it would be it's a smart thing to do right now.
Is Bassberry still bond counsel?
Bassberry will be bond counsel on this one because in our experience of doing a lot of variable rate of debt, which we do across the state of Tennessee, and our firm has been in business for almost 100 years, okay? They do a lot of variable rate debt. Not only do they understand variable rate debt and how it works within the state of Tennessee, they also established a lot of the facilities, the public building authorities that we will use to issue this debt.
County has a good rating.
Yes, sir.
Helps us get a better rate.
Well, in this particular case, with variable rate of debt, it's unrated, but when we discussed this, we were doing that kind of like an RFP, kind of what's your rate? We discussed what your rate was, both with S&P and also with
best to go with this variable rate as we rock along and see where it takes us. I mean, it could come down, it could go up, but we can float around. That would preserve
Short
for us
term.
the option to do like the finance committee recommended, like Robert, the mayor said, lock in when the rates drop down and do permanent.
That's
financing
correct.
there.
That's
This
correct.
gives us the flexibility, but if we did permanent now,
Yes.
we would not have that flexibility.
That is correct. You would start paying, you would start paying interest on, the entire bond amount from day one. And that's not necessarily true. And also, from my personal experience, when I was the director of finance for Knox County, this is exactly how we did it for Knox County the first time we ever did variable rate debt. So we had a fund balance and we had variable rate debt, and it's kind of, in this particular case, it was a 1-for-1, $25 million in debt, and I had $25 million in my fund balance, and it rocked along just perfectly.
And we're healthy enough to carry this.
You'll have about half right now, okay, what's your fund balance, both in your general fund and your debt service fund balance, yes, sir. Combined.
Any other questions? See why we have experts? Can you imagine if I was explaining? All right.
He would do just great.
All right, so really what we need from this body, if they're comfortable, is that we send this to the commission tonight, ideally with a recommendation that we proceed. Commissioner Smith.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept this, send it to full commission with a variable rate. Second.
All right, motion second. We're open for discussion. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So that's what we'll be going forward tonight in the special call meeting. All right, thank you. That is fantastic. That's good news for our future. All right, and then the other item that didn't, that came in a little bit close on the timeline, but is still appropriate to be in front of this body, is an MOU or MOA, whichever one, but we'll let Commissioner Johnson make a comment about this. This has to do with our public safety and radio communications, right?
For probably maybe a decade and a half, we've been using Rutherford County's tower on Lynch Hill, which is just outside of Bedford County by about 300 yards. That's where the fire department, everybody else has all their gear. We're going to a new system called the TACAN system. We need more towers. Rutherford County has one in Eagleville. That's why you have two different agreements in front of you, because one's for Lynch Hill, one's for Eagleville Tower. This is a no cost. They're not going to charge us anything. But in the past, it was just public safety guys doing a handshake. This is actually a formal memorandum of agreement, which is the way it should be. But it's like a 10-year agreement, so it has to go before the commission. It's not a one-year agreement. So, but it's no cost, and we need both those locations for public safety. Any questions?
Any comments or questions? This is pretty standard in public safety that we have these interworking agreements for emergencies, and we reciprocate to Rutherford for needs as well. In fact, the board just took up going in on one of their, I guess, generators need to be upgraded, and so when it makes sense and appropriate, the counties that share come together. But this is no monetary value. This is strictly protecting usage or any kind of questions that would come up.
Both parties, yeah.
This came in yesterday evening, so that's why it's on the agenda today.
But it's a multi-year.
Yeah, and it's 10 years, so that's why we had to bring it to
One question I've got, you said it was Eagleville, which I see that one.
And there's two different documents.
Okay.
It's up in it's in the title of the front page.
There's one for each location.
Okay.
There's two different.
Eagleville and Lynch Hill.
Okay, I'm
I think,
unconfused. Yeah, I got you. I didn't,
Well, maybe I gave you two of the same
I
thing,
think
but,
we're sharing all of
okay,
it.
well, you
so.
can have it.
I got you. I'm good now.
Okay, so any other questions on that?
Do you need a motion
We-
to move it to the commission?
Right, now, it won't be tonight, it'll go to the standard commission, right. But yeah, we need a motion to send it to the commission, ideally with a recommendation. Second, motion and second motion, my people got that figured out? On the two ends, whichever way you want to do it, all right? Okay, what about, any other business or announcements, before us? Looking out across the room, I don't see anybody throwing their hand up to me. So, don't forget, we have a special call meeting tonight, 7 o'clock at the courthouse. One item of business, and that is this bond issue that this body has recommended. And we need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.